I need 6 seconds.
5, 4, 3,
7,
2,
23,
Ah.
42.
Okay, you're
Hike.
good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good.
We're good.
We're good.
Are we? Don't
We're
speak.
good.
Don't
Are
speak
we,
for
Jay?
Drew.
Don't speak for me.
Don't speak
Listen,
for me.
don't speak for me.
Listen, lady.
Listen, lady.
Don't you speak for me.
Don't you speak for me. I'm terrible, I'll have you know,
Listen,
and you cannot
I
say
will have
otherwise.
you know.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This week, Attack of the Clones. Ben,
Alright,
finish that mouthful of food so you can tell me how the watch was.
I could chew while I
Don't do that
eat.
to our fans, please.
They don't know what's happening.
They can hear it in your voice, because I can hear it in your voice.
They can't.
Yes. How was your watch?
It was alright. This movie's long.
It's the second
This
longest in
movie
the
is
saga.
so long. I was sitting in a Discord call for like 90% of this movie with a friend of mine, and every few minutes I'd just be like, I've got like an hour and a half left. Oh boy, there's an hour and 20 minutes left. And he's like, it'd probably go faster if you stopped checking. I'm like, it probably would, but I need to know how soon I'll be done with this. That's how my watch went.
Chris, how was your watch?
This movie is long, but it's so fucking dumb, and we have made fun of it and torn it to pieces so many times that at least the front half of this movie now is hilarious for none of the reasons it should be.
I'm glad it is for you.
So Jay,
How was your watch?
I have no notes for this watch because I turned on the movie and had a disassociative episode the entire time. I might as well have been in a coma. I came to just enough in the middle of the movie to put in Discord how much I hate this fucking movie, and then I went back to my vegetative state. This movie is back to the very bottom of my list. I fucking hate it. With all my heart and soul, I hate this movie.
Jay goes into like a coma almost immediately, wakes up bleary-eyed in Discord like this movie's terrible, looks up and there's a pear floating across the table and she just goes, eyes roll in the back red, she passes out again.
I think it was Shmi's death when I put in the chat how much I hate this movie.
hold up. I straight up might have disassociated for parts of this movie too, because I remember the George Lucas dress, but I don't remember the pears. Like, I don't remember watching the pear this week.
I mean, there's a difference between disassociation and distraction.
Yeah, but I was like focused. There were hand gestures of what focusing looks like. I'm doing hand gestures on a podcast because I'm that level. I'm that level of whatever the fuck is happening.
This is, folks, they're not all winners. I'm gonna put that one out early.
They're not all winners. Part 2.
They're not all winners. Part 3, I think, at this point.
Part
Shit.
3.
Listen, who would have thought that They Might Be Giants would have become such a load-bearing beam on this podcast to pad out content?
Speaking of content,
we can't do these dry runs anymore, I don't think.
Some of them have to be dry because we don't have a choice but to watch these movies regular sometimes. We got our entire lives to do these. We have to save some shit. Speaking of bits, Ben's
dissociated again. Hold on.
Yeah, hold on. I heard our entire lives, and I just kind of like shut down for a second. I gotta put my burrito down, and I gotta get in the zone for this. So, when the clones attacked, we open on how the fuck does this movie start? So Padme's like I'm gonna go to Coruscant, so all the space boats are flying into Coruscant. And
It's one space boat.
it's 3 space boats.
It's okay. It's one space boat and two
And 2
small
space dinghies. So for some reason over the past I forget what the in-canon like gap between episode 1 and 2 is, but over these past few years people just like never grasped the fact that this whole time Padme has had a body double, and they just never learned like, oh hey, maybe we should blow up all the spaceships instead of just the one spaceship. So
spaceship.
So Padme's body double dies, and Padme's like, "Oh no, I wasn't there the whole time, but now I'm sad." And then Chief Guard guy is like, "We gotta go do things." So then they go and they're talking to Papa Palps, and he's like, "You should have a Jedi guarding you, like maybe that creepy one who's like crazy into you." And everyone's like, "That's a swell idea." So Obi-Wan and Anakin are like, "Hey, we're here to protect you. By the way, don't worry when Anakin stares at the cameras, because he's gonna do that."
Matchmaker Palpatine just like, "I'd like to reintroduce you to my son, so I will send him your way whether you like it or not."
There's an assassination attempt, and Anakin's like, "Shit, something's going on," and Obi-Wan's like, "You're right." So then Anakin jumps in the room, damn near cleaves Padme's head off, chopping the poison worms in half. And Obi-Wan's first of many suicide attempts ensues as he jumps out the window Superman style. And the assassin is like, "Fuck." So she starts shooting the droid, and it blows up, and Obi-Wan is like, "Yes, sweet death." And then Anakin rolls up on a speeder like, "Hey, no." And Obi-Wan's like, "Fuck." So they fly, and there's a chase scene, and then assassin lady's like, "Shit, why is there a person on my speeder?" And the person turns out to be Anakin. Plot twist. And Anakin's like, I'm here," and then it crashes. And Anakin goes to chase her into the bar, and Obi-Wan's like, "Hey, you dropped this." So they go into the bar, and there's a bunch of random ass shots, and then Obi-Wan decapitates her hand. And
how dare you refer to Obi-Wan helping a poor man get over his addiction using mind trickery as just a bunch of random shots.
Oh,
and
okay.
also,
Okay.
You know what? No, I'm mad now. I'm mad.
It was not Sleaze Begano's
For
addiction.
7
Sleaze Begano was the dealer.
For 7 rotations, you have made pod racing your thing. And you describe shots where pod races are mentioned as a bunch of random shots. I'm calling you out.
CJ, I come into these with some sort of plan. If you haven't noticed as of late. And there's protocols in place for this.
You're playing 4D chess. Is what you're saying to me.
Protocol
4D pod racing.
Place.
Oh yeah.
What are we doing with ourselves? There's protocols in place.
Okay, I should better state I have a protocol in place.
Well, I don't go into these episodes with any plan whatsoever, and I think the podcast shows it.
No, I've got pod racing is now premeditated.
I'm gonna premeditate you.
Oh. Meditating.
If that's your description.
I think I got way too high before this podcast started. I don't know what's going on with you two tonight.
So Assassin Lady gets her hand decapitated, and Jango Fett's like, nope, not gonna happen. So he poisons her with a poison dart from Kamino, and Obi-Wan's like, I don't know what the fuck this is. So Obi-Wan takes the poison dart over to the library, and he's like, what the fuck is this? And the droid's like, I don't fucking know. So he takes it to some random ass motherfucker who owns a diner. And he's like, oh yeah, it's from Camino. Everyone fucking knows that. And meanwhile, Anakin's like, we gotta go hide Padme on Naboo, and everyone's like, that's a great idea. Don't get her pregnant. And
Whoa!
Jesus. Who'd that advice come from, Minch?
Yeah, it wasn't Palpatine.
Remember, young one.
no, no.
Young Skywalker. Rap it you will if you tap it. Mm.
I like that you and I both sat here trying to make the same joke in dumb Yoda verbiage.
I had to get my minch on. Going back to a previous point, and it's been simmering in my head for a second. The way that Ben described Obi-Wan jumping out of that window, I've now got this mental image of him like closing his eyes as he slowly plummets to the ground with that weird I forget the name of it. It might be an orchestral piece. But that Boondock Saints song that they play whenever the detective would explain the killings, and they do flashbacks to the murder scenes of just like this joyous music, this joyous fucking classical music playing as he plummets to the ground, and then all of a sudden just gets taken up by Anakin, and it's like, you motherfucker, I had my out.
Oh, so Anakin doesn't listen to anybody, and they're just
it. That's all you have to say to describe the movie.
Chilling out for half the movie, eating stemless pears.
And not getting Padme pregnant.
And not get let me make this very clear. He's not getting. Nope. Nope. We're not doing that.
Chris went to the same place.
I went to the same place too, but I didn't verbalize it.
No, you did. You said, "Let me be clear."
No, I said that, and then it came to my head.
So, meanwhile, Obi-Wan's actually doing shit. He's like, I should go to this place that this diner owner told me is a thing. So he shows up, and the Kaminoans are like, yo, welcome, Home Slice, and he's like, what's up?
I'm sorry. The Kaminoans did what?
Hold on. Would you like to see your slave army, dog?
Yeah.
Like, what
so
the
he rolls up, and he's like, yo, and they're like, yo, you want to look at that army? And he's like, fucking excuse me? And they're like, yeah, the army you guys told us to make. He goes, oh, that one. Totally forgot. So they take him over. He goes, yep, that's a fucking army. Where the fuck did it come from? And they're like, oh, we just cloned a fuck ton of this one dude. Want to go say hi? And Obi-Wan's like, yeah. So Obi-Wan just like fucking walks on over to meet fucking Jango Fett. He's like, yo, dude, that's a lot of clones. And he's like, yeah, they're me. Look at mini me.
The pride of my loins, or not my loins, my DNA, I suppose.
So then he's like, yo, you ever been to Coruscant, motherfucker? And he's like,
What?
So then
He did what?
Obi-Wan's like, yo, you ever been to Coruscant, motherfucker? And
We heard
Django's
you
like,
the first time. It doesn't change the reaction.
and then Django's like, maybe. And Obi-Wan's like, well, it was nice seeing you. And then he leaves. And then Yoda's like, you need to capture him now.
Why didn't he just pull out a pair of space shackles right there and say, well, I bet. Because, like, there's very
Because
clearly.
it doesn't have.
They're like. They
Ewan
seem to
Mc-
have no protocol, so, like, they can just do whatever they want.
Look, Ewan McGregor was in, I believe, Moulin Rouge, the musical.
Yes, where are you going with this?
He likes the theatrics, so he would much prefer to kung fu fight Jango Fett in the rain.
The way you're presenting the scenario, it's like he had any say over the way this movie went.
He was like, you know what? I could arrest him right now, but if I wait for him to go to his ship, we'll have to karate fight in the rain on
With
the landing
jetpacks.
pad with jetpacks. And I
I
bet
don't
he'll use that
feel
jetpack.
big.
I'm gonna try to drop kick him out of the air.
So Obi-Wan,
Why do you think they're getting on their ship and the fucking door comes open all dramatic and here's Obi-Wan? He knows what he's doing.
It's more accurate to say
turns around and he's just in his head like, fuck, I thought we were skipping this part.
it's more accurate to say Obi-Wan Kenobi was like, I see an opportunity for a fight, aka to die. So I'll go ask permission first.
I'll fight the Mandalorian. That'll do it.
Well, no. Well, lowercase the Mandalorian, not the Mandalorian.
Not the Mandalorian.
Not the title, the
Yeah,
not the
lowercase
two-word
the-
title, the singular title. The Mandalore.
I've lost the plot. So, Obi-Wan turns
We
the
lost
fuck
that
back
a long
around.
time ago.
Obi-Wan turns the fuck back around and marches straight to the landing pad where Django's like getting on his space boat, and Django turns around and goes, "Fuck, run!" And as he yells that up the Slave One, and Lil Boba's like, "I'm gonna shoot lasers at the Space Wizard now." And that's exactly what happens, and they slapbox, and it's fantastic. This is the mid movie hype. Every Star Wars movie has the mid movie hype. As you may know from past rotations, the pod race is my mid movie hype.
You're a son of a bitch.
There was more build up, but I felt like I had to get it out because I was under pressure today, Jay. Yes, I am a son of a bitch. So, Django's like, haha, I have a rope. And he hits Obi-Wan with the rope.
Well, that's the name of the podcast, and I won't hear anything
I have
different.
a rope.
As Obi-Wan's falling, and he's like, shit, I'm on the other end of this rope. So he gets his Batman fucking triangle blades and stabs this metal that somehow like lets him stick. And Obi-Wan's just like, well, I guess I gotta go up the elevator and back through the door again. So Obi-Wan rolls back up and he's like, fuck, they're gone.
Super speed would have been nice there.
But you know, that's probably how he got back there so quick.
He jogged to that door. Did you see him after the Slave One took off? He jogged inside. He was like, well, I didn't die, so I'm not really in a hurry.
I like how he runs out the door with his lightsaber ignited.
Well, because he wanted a fight.
No, but I choose to believe he ran through the whole fucking building with his lightsaber on.
All this movie does with the Jango Fett fight, and then how Jango Fett inevitably dies. You know, spoilers for Ben's magical review. Yeah, this many rotations in, it's crazy we haven't gotten to that part yet. It's really disappointing that like there was never an interaction with Boba Fett in the original trilogy where Obi-Wan could just be like, "Oh, Luke, there's Boba Fett. Yes, his father was the most dangerous bounty hunter in the galaxy, but really he was just a big bitch, and he died like one too." I slapboxed him in the rain once.
Luke, I saw Mace Windu just cut his head off like it was nothing.
Luke's like, "Who's Mace Windu?" And Obi-Wan's like, "Oh, the guy that used to stuff your dad in lockers."
As Minch looked on approvingly.
Yeah. the guy that viciously bullied your father in Jedi school.
He's the man who allowed your father on the council but didn't approve him the rank of master. And Luke goes, "Well, that sounds unfair."
We need a young teens Jedi Temple show.
Luke is just like, "Well, but that doesn't make sense. How can you be a master if you're not on the..." Obi-Wan's eyes wide. My God.
Obi-Wan just reaches for his lightsaber.
My God. He's gonna stand over a child's bed with a lightsaber one day.
Reaches down, grabs his lightsaber, ignites, and says, "And so I've lost you too."
He knows too much.
Like, we need an X-Men Evolution style Jedi Temple show where everybody's just aged down, everybody's the same shit, and Mace Windu is the school bully.
My God. Also, I want to make a quick note. I slapboxed him in the rain once. Sounds very queer-coded.
It really does, doesn't it? That's very good. I'm gonna write that one down. That's very good.
Whispered phrase shared between a pair of people in a coffee shop while a guy passing by is like, "That sounds like a strange euphemism." And
I'm gonna try not to think about that too much.
You're on a date and your ex stands up and walks through and says hi, and you say hi, and then they awkwardly leave, and your partner or date or whatever is like, You seem off put. Is everything okay? Did you know that person?" And you just go all glassy-eyed and you kind of stare off in the direction that they went and you go, "I slapboxed them in the rain one time."
So,
we're gonna use that a lot outside of this podcast. I
Yes,
feel it
we
already.
are.
We're gonna use that a lot outside of this podcast.
it's gonna be a very confusing show to
God.
talk for
It's
our
gonna be-
specific friend group for the next 6
our
weeks
friend
until
groups are
one
gonna
of
be
our
real
friends
confused
finds
for
this.
6 weeks. Most of them will be confused forever, but Zin specifically will be confused for about 6 weeks.
So Obi-Wan jogs back onto the platform and he's like, "Well, shit, they're leaving." He's like, this ain't over though. So he gets the tracking device he apparently always keeps on his person. So instead of waiting a little bit for in case they're expecting him to follow them, he just hops in his fucking space boat and goes right after him.
Are we just sticking with Space Boat?
They're space boats.
Okay.
So, welcome to Space Boat every week forever.
Yeah, welcome to Space Boat.
So I'm just gonna skip over all the Anakin Padme shit until we get to Geonosis.
No,
because they're
unacceptable.
You don't.
Nothing happens.
Unacceptable.
Hey, you don't. Get to
Unacceptable.
Nothing
No.
happens.
No,
Listen,
you don't
no.
get to pitch this idea
don't
for
get
an
to do
entire
that.
rotation and skip
It's
that. No.
There's no
Unacceptable.
material there.
No.
There's no material. He floats a pear in her face. That's it.
Unacceptable. You gotta try.
All right. So meanwhile, Padme's suffocating because George Lucas is a person, and Anakin's bitching about sand. Those happen at two totally different parts in time, but fuck it. So Geonosis.
No. No. I'm setting a precedent. You have to talk about
All
every
right,
part of the movie.
all right. So Anakin's like, hey, babe, listen.
Yeah, he is the guy that just starts randomly calling women babe.
He's just leaning, he's combing his hair.
See?
Hey, babe.
See, this is why you have to talk about these parts.
He's like, so I've been having some weird dreams lately, and she's like, I really couldn't give less of a shit. And he's like, my mom's gonna die, and she's like, fuck, this is kind of important to him, isn't it? So she's sympathy is like, well, we could go check on her, and he's like, cool, let's go to Tatooine.
I've seen that situation happen in the wild.
Man, I'll never forget the time that I pitied the person that was crushing on me pretty hard. You know, I was having a rough situation, and they took me to Tatooine. Man, I regret it to this day.
So they roll up on Tatooine, and Anakin's like, fuck, sand. So they're
I really love.
It's like Anakin.
From episode 1 till now, he just randomly says fuck over and over again.
That's every character, though.
It's like Anakin met this lady in like Miami and has now convinced her to just take a visit to his family's house in the Everglades for a weekend.
Let's be real.
This poor girl just is trying to live her life, and then here's Anakin. He's so sad.
Modern AU Attack of the Clones is just a drunken night in Vegas where the two people end up eloping and then wake up the next day like, what the fuck did I do?
I want to redo Star Wars Attack of the Clones in the style of that Romeo and Juliet movie from the 90s where they reinvented Romeo and Juliet is like as like a 90s gang drama. But they all still talk in like the Shakespearean like dialect and everything. With Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And what's her name? It's not Star Wars. I don't know anything if it's not Star Wars anymore.
If it's not Star Wars, I don't know.
All the other information's getting pushed out. And wouldn't you know it, Romeo plus Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't high on the keep pile.
That and 50 First Dates apparently is our...
Stop talking about 50 First Dates.
Oh, 50 First Dates is high up on the keep pile. I'm going to remember that shit forever. Unlike Drew Barrymore in 50 First Dates.
Was it Drew Barrymore in that movie?
In 50 First Dates.
Because it's Drew Barrymore in 50 First Dates.
No, it's not Drew Barrymore in Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, okay.
Claire Danes. Claire Danes.
Okay, I was going to say that makes no sense. The times don't match up. I have gotten so big in this group, and it's...
So, they're on Tatooine. And, Anakin is like, we're gonna hire this droid to go take us to my old slave owner. And Padme probably has the most fucking terrified look on her face in my head.
We're gonna take a fan boat.
So Anakin rolls up to Watto, and Watto's like, who the fuck are you? And Anakin fixes a droid head, and he's like, Anakin!
Oh my god, only Anakin Skywalker could do those rudimentary repairs.
Your skills are so subpar, you must be Anakin.
And Watto's like, yo, you want to beat the fuck out of some dudes? And Anakin's like, where's my mom?
I got some guys that could be dealt with. I just want my mommy.
I just want my mom. Excuse me.
then he's like, go talk to this racist fuck I sold her to. So he goes to talk to the racist fuck that she got sold to, who married her, and he meets his stepbrother for like all of the 3 seconds that they've ever interacted. And he goes and commits a genocide. And then he comes back and they bury his mum. So Geonosis.
There you go. You finally got there. You had to get through the Brussels sprouts.
So Obi-Wan's like, here I am, and Boba Fett's
like a hurricane.
And Boba Fett's like, motherfucker
How
showed
many
up.
times are we gonna make that joke on the podcast? We're the only two people making Scorpions jokes. Only one. We're not even that old. What's happening here?
This bit where you explain the movies is the best idea we've ever had.
Oh, that scares me.
It's really good.
So Obi-Wan rolls up and fucking Rocket Man is like, shit, motherfucker followed me. I'm
Rocket
gonna
Man,
blow
a
the fuck up.
hurricane.
So Ben Burt decides to just make noise, fucking obliterate things. And then Obi-Wan's like, oh no, you got me, I exploded. And Jango Fett's like, yeah, we got him, boyo. So then they go down and land on the planet, and Obi-Wan's like, surprise. And then he also goes down and lands on the planet. He's like, hey, Yoda, I'm on Geonosis. Surprise. Oh, wait, he can't hear me. Hey, Anakin, tell Yoda I'm on Geonosis. And Anakin's like, hey, Obi-Wan's on Geonosis, and Padme's like, let's go help him. Anakin's like, I can't do that. And she's like, well, I'll do it. And he's like, okay.
We cannot complete your call right now. The person that owns this number is currently committing a genocide.
Oh yeah, that's right, because R2 records it.
I'm just picturing Anakin, like Anakin's ringtone going off while he's just murdering Tusken Raiders.
It's just like a.
Why do I have
an
the Blue
8-bit
Man Group set
version.
as my ringtone? This offsets my entire murder string.
It's just the Cantina theme.
I was gonna say it's an 8-bit version of the Cantina theme. Just cutting through people all of a sudden.
It's cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort.
Oh my god.
Papa Roach, the spoken word album.
Papa Roach slam poetry. Jesus fucking.
How fucked would it be if someone came to our podcast and just saw an episode named Papa Roach slam poetry?
We would get a very different audience.
I'm just picturing someone
Everyone
sat
in
there
the
just
hall
like,
would be very confused.
Rightfully so, and now I want to do it.
just like someone sitting there like, what the fuck? Why is this an hour long? What is this?
Well, listen, audience, if you're confused about why the episode may or may not be titled Papa Roach Slam Poetry, now you've been explained to
We
why.
offer, it's not until 30 minutes into the podcast that we offer any explanation whatsoever.
Oh. The suspense. So,
way too high before this recording. I'm suffering.
So Obi-Wan's sneaking around Geonosis. He's like, fuck, Count Dooku's here. What the fuck? He's talking to the independent system dudes. And he gets fucking caught being a sneaky bastard. And Count Dooku goes to interrogate him. He goes, hey, by the way, a Sith Lord controls the entire Republic, and you and I could stop him. And Obi-Wan's like, you're a dirty liar. And then Anakin shows up.
Says it.
Yeah, he goes, you're a dirty, filthy liar, and that's not the first time they say it about Count Dooku in this movie. So then, Anakin and Padme roll up, and well, no, Obi-Wan's like, there's a bounty hunter here, I know it, and Dooku's like, no. Obi-Wan's like, but maybe. So then Anakin and Padme roll up.
I physically saw these arrive, but maybe.
I'm gonna fucking pass out. This review thing was the best idea that we've had
Best
on.
idea we've ever
That Ben,
had.
thank you for
Ben's
this.
ever had.
This is the best.
I need to give a little bit behind the scenes information. This all started because I believe it was episode 7 last rotation. I go into our
this has been a
Discord channel.
reoccurring thing for a long time that's just built.
Well, no, but I went into our Discord channel and our like behind the scenes one, and I was like, "Hey, do we have any like bits planned for next rotation?" Everyone was like, "No, but if you got something, let us know." And I didn't, and then I was like, "Fuck!" Well, now I got to brainstorm, and this just popped into my head. So, Anakin and
Speaking
Padme
of popping
show up,
into your head,
and they're like, "Hey, let's go park in one of those smokestacks." So they do. And then they're walking down a hallway.
Too much like they're gonna go toke it up.
So they're walking down this hallway, and all of a sudden, the Geonosians are just like, "Dude, we're trying to fucking sleep here." And Anakin starts cutting into them.
Papa Roach plays.
This
This
like
movie would be so much better if Papa Roach just randomly plays every time Anakin lights his lightsaber.
All the angsty fucking alt hard rock. So they walk through the hallway and they're like, "Fuck, this is a gigantic factory for robots." And so they're walking, and then they fall onto a conveyor belt and get separated because one of the Geonosians daintily pushes Padme into a bucket. And Anakin's running around doing Anakin things, and then
Life into pieces.
and he's just like running around swinging his lightsaber at shit, and then his arm gets stuck in a thing, and then a giant fucking butcher knife comes down and cuts his lightsaber in half, and he's like, poop. So
The places where you choose to curse and not choose to curse are fascinating.
And Padme's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna be turned into lava." And R2's like, "Nope." And then he turns off the lava machine. And a bunch of droidekas show up, and they're like, "Hey, you're under arrest." And then they take them to go meet their old buddy Obi-Wan in the murder coliseum.
Are the droidekas? Are they like? Have they been deputized? Are they? They're just arresting?
They have badges.
Just picture the droidekas like pop up, and one of them in the front is like, "Dead or alive, you're coming with me." It's like, what the fuck is going on?
A little western town, like old school Hollywood western town with just droidekas rolling up and down the fucking streets. They stop and roll out of there into the firing forms, and they just have a little cowboy hat and a cigar sticking out of their mouth.
Oh my god.
Out
They're
of their
disguised as
circuits.
tumbleweeds.
It's just Fallout New Vegas. This is
That's
just Fallout New Vegas
brilliant.
that we're describing.
Yeah.
This is just
But also that's
Fallout
brilliant.
New Vegas.
Droidekas as tumbleweeds is a great idea.
Is it? Is it though?
Yes. Yes.
I think Jay, I believe one of your last great ideas led to this. What's happening right now? This podcast.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't just riff off of your great idea. Because now here
Well,
we are.
tumbleweeds was a me thing.
We're just here in the Serenity Gardens talking about Star Wars for the rest of our lives.
So they get arrested.
They get arrested
For
by the deputy
trespassing.
Droidekas,
They get arrested for trespassing, and
which is a misdemeanor at best. I mean,
it was on federal property. Even though it was on like fucking.
Are we explaining the federal crime of going into a giant droid murder factory right now?
So it's like, cause we're in the middle of a civil war, so it's like if you just rolled up in the middle of like a Confederate musket factory and started chopping people up.
you know, say somewhere out in the Florida Everglades.
In current times.
It's right down the road from Tatooine.
So
Tatooine, Florida, man.
meanwhile, C-3PO gets decapitated at the head, and his brain is put on another robot, and another robot is put on his brain, and that's a thing that happened.
I hate it when that happens. You know?
So the Geonosians go and they're like, hey, we're gonna make you fight giant animals without weapons and murder and death. So Padme's like, fuck that, and apparently nobody searched anybody because she just has a lockpick. And Obi-Wan's like, well, Anakin, you fucked up again. And Anakin's like, you were here first. And Obi-Wan's like, you. So Anakin's just like, I'm gonna just befriend this rhino monster. And he does.
Who would have thought Anakin ends up being the druid of the party? Who would have thought?
I did DM for a very Anakin like druid. I can attest. I've DM'd for a horny druid.
That's just that'd be another great confusing episode title. Anakin Skywalker, horny druid.
Skywalker, the horny druid. Oh my god, it's perfect.
Is there an opposite of favorite terrains and you just make it sand?
Padme is the bard. Because she's like the...
Padme feels like a rogue to me. You know, she's the
like
lockpicker, you know, she's getting them out of there, she's
also
badass.
like the politician kind of...
She's a mastermind rogue.
Padme's a mastermind rogue. Obi-Wan is a fighter monk.
Yep.
Gotta have those slapboxing skills. And Anakin's a druid.
Mace Windu is a just full-on fighter. Just
Fighter, yep. So and then Obi-Wan's like, fuck, I have to fight this thing with swords for feet. So the swords for feet monster comes up and tries to stab him, but it just stabs the chain. If I keep flailing,
if I keep the word, yeah, you'll summon it.
So he just stabs the chain, and Obi-Wan's like, that works. And then Obi-Wan like pole vaults a Geonosian and starts stabbing the stab monster with it. The pole, that is.
The pole, not the Geonosian.
Not the Geonosian.
It's the best idea we've ever had. We are at least 40 minutes into this episode.
It's gotten content out of Attack of the Clones.
Yes. A movie I had a very bad time watching.
Yoda just shows up. He's like, yo, dude, remember that army you went to look at? They're all grown up.
Why did you almost describe him as sounding like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo? Hey, dudes!
Is that the new Disney Plus show? It's all grown up, but the Clone Army, like the Rugrats spinoff.
I'm crying.
The Bad Batch got weird, y'all.
Bad Batch made me sad this week. I don't want to think about Bad Batch. So
Yoda rolls up on these
Yoda
fools.
rolls up with the
Tumbleweed Droideka rolls up.
and he's like, "Let's just have a war, dude." So they do a war.
Yoda's the hippie with the "Make War Not Love" T-shirt. Oh, God.
I have to do the rest of the
I worship
episode
Marilyn
request.
Manson and love Rush Limbaugh.
Oh my god! No! That is very Minch, but it feels so wrong.
No, it's what you described Minch as.
Oh.
So all the Jedi decide to collectively do a war. They hand Anakin and Obi-Wan just the spare lightsabers they keep around. And they just fight a lot, and then Obi-Wan and Anakin are like, "Yo, let's go after Count Dooku." And Mace Windu's like, "Hold on a second," and he runs over and chops off Jango Fett's face.
The way
Your
you
hair-
just described that is that they're having a conversation, and
Hold
Obi-Wan's like,
on.
we're gonna go after Count Dooku, and Mace Windu's like, hold that thought, jogs over, like Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, chops off Jango Fett's head, jogs back and goes, okay, what's the plan?
And the hand motions that Ben was making as he was talking about
So
chopping off someone's head were like these downward fucking, like,
Well, I was trying
stabbing
to do a
motions.
slash, but I forgot my microphone's right
The
here.
worst moment of Boba Fett's young life was just a casual probable war crime for Mace Windu.
Hold on. Oh, there's a kid over there? This is going to be even more fun. Chop. No!
Like, Mace Windu probably never thought about that again
Oh,
after
definitely.
chopping off Jango Fett's head.
Oh, yeah. No. Absolutely not.
But Boba Fett thinks about that forever.
There's an entire
Justice for Boba.
episode. There's an entire episode of the Clone Wars where Boba Fett tries to kill Mace Windu when he's still a kid.
Forgot about that.
He gets damn close. So,
Which is one of the best stories the Clone Wars has given us.
oh, definitely.
Without the Clone Wars, we wouldn't have gotten baby Boba trying to murder very much adult Mace Windu.
So then, they get on one of the LAATs and they go after the Count Dooku, and
They go
Anakin-
after the Count.
The Count.
the Count Dooku.
He needs an additional title.
And
I mean,
then
Sir Christopher Lee
Yeah.
deserves only the best.
the Sir Christopher Lee Dooku.
The
The
Sir,
Sir Christopher.
the Sir Count Christopher Lee Dooku.
Dooku.
the fifth. Then Padme's like, "Whoops, I slipped," and she falls in the sand. And Anakin's like, "No, she's in the sand. We gotta save her." And
This is the
Obi-Wan's
sand's final revenge.
and Obi-Wan's
It's
like,
coarse and rough and it gets everywhere.
Obi-Wan's like, "Qui-Gon didn't train me for this. What the fuck is happening?"
I could have
Anakin.
died 45 minutes ago, and I didn't. Because of you.
So Obi-Wan's like, "Nah, we're not going to get her." And Anakin's like, "But," and Obi-Wan's like, "No." And then Anakin's like, "Fine." So then they fly up to Count Dooku's house, and they barge in the door, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna fight." And Count Dooku's like, okay. And Anakin's like, "I got him." And then Anakin gets fucked. And Obi-Wan's like, "Well, shit."
Oh, hold on.
Hold on. Hold on. You want to rephrase that one?
Rewind.
And
Take two.
Anakin gets shat on.
Take 3. God
Take
damn.
3.
Anakin is reduced to a heap of ashes.
Whoa, okay, good enough.
Perhaps
That's not this movie, but
Metaphorically.
I'm just J.J. Abrams directing traffic with Palpatine right now.
And Obi-Wan's like, well, shit. And he goes and starts fighting Count Dooku. And Count Dooku's like, haha, and he jabs him twice, and Obi-Wan's down for the next, 5 hours. And Anakin's like, I'm awake, what's going on? Shit. So he, fucking Palpatine jumps and, catches Dooku's lightsaber right when it's about to murder Obi-Wan, and Dooku's like, that's not allowed. So he starts fighting Anakin. And Anakin's like, help, and Obi-Wan's like, here you go, and he just chucks the fucking lightsaber at him. And Anakin catches it and does a helicopter impersonation, and then he turns off all the lights for some reason. Because we needed to show off lighting effects. And then, Count Dooku's like, hey, Anakin, guess what? And Anakin's like, what? And Dooku's like, I got your arm, and he just, severs his face from his arm.
I got your arm.
I got your arm. He cuts his fucking head off.
I got your arm. Cuts off his nose. Wait, shit. That's supposed to be. Where did the arm come from? What was I talking about?
They don't. He's just a count. They don't teach them anatomy. All right.
Please, Count Dooku. My mother was a doctor.
Please, Count Dooku.
Dr.
I'm actually
Dooku's
illiterate.
I'm now just thinking of Count Dooku, but he's the Count from Sesame Street.
One dissected arm.
Chris looks so distraught.
That's the legs that bit has.
I got way too high before this recording.
and all of a sudden, Yoda just kind of rolls up, and he's like, hey, fucker, I'm gonna fucking hurt you violently.
What are these 90s grunge lyrics? What? It's like power metal lyrics. What are you doing?
Sounds like a Swedish metal band song. Just like the lyrics are just a little bit off, but it's noticeable.
So, Yoda proceeds to do 27.5 front flips all around Count Dooku without touching him whatsoever.
Remember that time Yoda took a neck bump in the middle of the fight with Dooku?
And Count Dooku's like, oh yeah, well guess what? I'm gonna murder the now crippled man and the other man that just got tapped twice and just refuses to live. And Obi-Wan is sitting there watching all this happening, looking up at the thing falling at them and just going, well, shit.
I mean, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. He saw that coming in the sweet embrace of death.
Assisted suicide attempt part 2.
Obi-Wan is like that D&D character that someone made and then didn't really mesh that great with.
Yeah.
And so now they're desperately trying to get their character killed so
like
they can
we
play another character. Have we done this? Yeah. Listen, we know two things, D&D and Star Wars. And occasionally Jay and I will nerd out about wrestling. All right? That's what we do here. If you're new here, that's what we do.
This podcast is a snake eating itself.
If you're new here and you're still here, good on you. And I'm sorry you found us this way because of the title.
I'm sorry, Papa Roach fans that have just stumbled into this episode.
The Papa Roach fans, I apologize that you've now been this. You've been exposed to this. God.
So then Count Dooku's like, haha, I run away, which is what he taught General Grievous. Spoilers for next summary. and he goes to Coruscant, and he cackles with Palpatine. Meanwhile, Anakin's like, "Yo, let's get married," and Padme's like, "Fuck." And that's the movie. Oh, C-3PO gets his head back at some point. I kind of left that one on a cliffhanger. Can't leave anything too ambiguous on these summaries.
Can you imagine if George Lucas, after this movie came out, was just like, no, you know what? I liked the way his head looked on that body. I think we're going to just leave it he kept that body. And then they went in and they CG'd that body onto the original trilogy.
I think that is the straw that broke the camel's back. I think there would not be new movies.
Really? Like, do you really feel like that's the case with Star Wars at this point? You don't feel like they can just do whatever they want to the original trilogy at this point?
I don't know if they can now.
They got away with McClunky.
But that's George.
Yeah, all of this is George. George couldn't. I don't think George could have gotten away with it. I don't think anybody can stop this.
Can't keep getting away
with this. Can't keep getting away with this. We've ended an episode in that exact way before, so we can't end it that way now.
Oh,
we can't keep getting away with this.
We can't keep getting away with this.
God, do we have any other bits or anything for this episode?
No.
Jesus, that was a very well utilized
review
bit.
Week.
And that was how C-3PO got his head back.
This has been Star Wars every week forever. I am so excited about this rotation now. Hopefully we can do every fucking episode where it's just all Ben explaining a movie while we shit on the way he talks about it over and over and over again. Good night.
Hello, all you beautiful people, and thank you very much for joining us on yet another week of Star Wars Every Week Forever. We upload every Wednesday around noon on various platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, TuneIn, and many others. If you have any friends, companions, people you would like to torture with our presence, feel free to send them our way. You know where to find us. If you would like to interact with the show and the various co-hosts, you can find us quite easily on Twitter at SWEWF. We check there very regularly, so it's easy to get a hold of us. And I hope all of you wonderful people have a glorious rest of your day. Until next we meet, may the Force be with you.